So continuing my exploration of GraphicsMagick in Lucee CFML, I wanted to see how I could read in the width and the height of an image using the command line utilities. And you can see here that I have a list of images in my test directory, and as I click through them, you can see I get the file name, the width and the height, and the duration, which is how long it took to run this operation. And I can click through here, various things, 25 milliseconds, 37 milliseconds. You can see some of these images are quite sizable, right? This one's 1200 by 3600, 19 milliseconds. I can even do it for a GIF. The GIFs take a little bit longer because they're quite a bit larger in file size. But you can see it's all quite nice here. So let's take a look at how this is working. So all of the GraphicsMagick operations take place through the GraphicsMagick command line utility, but then it has subcommands. So I'm going to be using the identify command to read in the width and the height. The identify essentially doesn't manipulate an image, it gathers information about the image. And it can take a format option. Well, actually, you know what, let's actually just look at what this gives us. So let's dump out success result and abort. So now I'm going to be reading in the image with no options, just the identify. So if we refresh this, so you can see it gives us the file name here, the file type or the reader, the dimensions and the offset, some other stuff, the bit depth and so on and so forth. So this is the default output. But we can then use this format to change what gets output in the standard output. So what essentially comes back in the success variable for our CFExecute tag. So if we include the %W and %H, which is the width and the height on the image, and let's refresh this, you can see there we get 500 and 377. There's a whole bunch of different things. I have a list here. These are all the things that GraphicsMagick supports on that format. I don't understand many of them, but for example, let's just grab O as the output file name so we can see what's going on here, and refresh, and there you can see is the output file name for whatever that's worth. So the nice thing here is that this now becomes just a comma delimited list, right? Because I'm explicitly including commas in my output. And of course, every time we see a comma delimited list in Cold Fusion, we can immediately think of list functions, the built-in list functions, which means that we can easily parse this into individual data points, right? We could use list to array or list get at to get these values. Now you will notice that I am including a trailing comma here, and that's because if let's take this out for a second and let's go back to our GIF version, and now let's put this back in. What you'll notice in the GIF version is that we actually get individual readings for every frame within the animation. So I have to include the trailing comma to differentiate the height of the first frame from the width of the second frame, right? So now, given this width height comma delimited list, we can parse that success result into an array, and then at that point index 1 is the width and index 2 is the height, and that's what we're outputting here in our readings, right? And that's why we get 266 by 152 for the GIF, or let's pick one of the larger ones, right? 4,000 by 3,000 for this picture of my dog. And yeah, I know this is pretty basic stuff, but I'm relatively new to GraphicsMagick, so you have to start with the basics and then iteratively build upon that knowledge. So hopefully this was helpful.